Hello everyone and welcome to Season 7, Episode 49 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches in CHIKARA history with match number 2 on our list, which is the finals of the 12 Large Summit Tournament to determine the first ever CHIKARA Grand Champion between Lightning Mike Quackenbush and Eddie Kingston from the CHIKARA High Noon event held on November the 13th of 2011. I don't think it's really hyperbole to say that this is probably the most important match in CHIKARA history. It is certainly the match of the biggest magnitude. This was the finals of a year-long round-robin G1 style tournament to determine CHIKARA's first ever, I was going to say singles champion, but technically they have the Young Lions Cup, so really CHIKARA's equivalent of a world champion. You have the two biggest, we'll say kind of homegrown CHIKARA stars that there ever were. You have Mike Quackenbush, the guy that started CHIKARA and put it on the map. And in my opinion, and I'm sure many share this opinion, the best, or at the very least, most successful student to come out of the CHIKARA Wrestle Factory in Eddie Kingston, going one-on-one in the finals of this tournament. This tournament that was, created to honor, the legacy of the late sweet and sour Larry Sweeney. To put the cherry on top, this was the main event of CHIKARA's first ever iPay-per-view back when iPay-per-views were still a pretty big novelty. Not every promotion had live streaming shows at that point. So this was no doubt one of the biggest CHIKARA shows of all time, just as far as exposure was concerned in that regard. CHIKARA did such a fantastic job with the presentation of this match. If you watch the footage, where it has this great video package beforehand that documents each wrestler's path through the 12 Large Summit and their history in CHIKARA. Eddie Kingston cuts one of the best promos of his career before this match, just with so much pure passion, tears in his eyes, talking about how much he loves pro wrestling and how much he loves Larry Sweeney, how much CHIKARA and becoming the first champion means to him, and just does one of the best jobs of ever hyping up a pay-per-view money match that you will ever see. If you saw that promo at the time and didn't shell out your money, if you had the means to do so, to order High Noon on iPay-per-view, there was something wrong with you, because that man, could have talked anybody into a purchase with that promo. It is incredible. Both guys have seconds at ringside. Eddie Kingston has his hero, Tommy Dreamer, out there with them. Tommy Dreamer, kind of subtly adds a little bit to this match too, just with, the most simple things. When they're walking to the ring, the camera kind of zooms in on him, and he tells Eddie Kingston, I built this house, but now it's your time to take it. And just that line, really sets the stage of, what a big match this is. It's in the ECW arena. CHIKARA, at this point had become the Fed, regularly running the ECW arena. So it almost felt like the CHIKARA arena at this point. And, Eddie Kingston, this was his moment. This was his time to claim that as his, just like Tommy Dreamer did, in the early years of ECW in its heyday. Eddie Kingston had a bad knee that was an ongoing story all through the 12 Large Summit. It was exploited by Vin Gerard, who just brutalized Kingston's knee. At that point, he was out of, the 12 Large Summit. There was no way he was going to win. We knew Eddie was making the finals, so Vin Gerard was almost the spoiler there and just, wanted to mess everything up for CHIKARA, of course, and just destroyed the knee of Eddie Kingston. So he comes in with this bad wheel. Quackenbush, this is his promotion. He wants to be the first champion. He's someone that, is synonymous with CHIKARA. Eddie Kingston, yes, it's his student. They haven't always seen eye to eye, but Quack understands the magnitude of this match as well. But, you can't understate how important it is for him to win this match as well. And it creates this amazing dynamic where the crowd is so hot for the entire match. Even before the intros and the bell, they are electric. We're getting sweet and sour chants and dueling chants and all of that great stuff. Chants of CHIKARA, which is so amazing. And, both of these guys start this match very respectfully, very clean, but Mike Quackenbush has that pure technical wrestling, skill that is, far ahead of Eddie's, to be quite honest. And he starts to, show that through those opening exchanges. So Kingston has to become a little bit more aggressive and, starts relying on things like chops and a big spine buster, going to that power offense. And that's where Mike Quackenbush, yes, he's, this honorable person, at least in the grand sense of CHIKARA, if not in real life. But he's this performer that wants to win this match, and he's willing to take any shortcut or use any means he can to win, which is very unlike Quack. But again, it stresses the importance of him wanting to win this match, and he goes to the bad leg of Eddie Kingston very, very early. As soon as he gets rattled by Kingston's, advantages that he has in being physically stronger and being a better striker, Quack has to go to what can get him an advantage. That's the bad leg. So he does that, and it creates this really great dynamic of Mike Quackenbush kind of becoming the de facto heel in this match. And that's something at no other point in CHIKARA did we ever really get to see. But it's something that Mike Quackenbush, although he hasn't been a heel much throughout his career, he's very, very good at. If you've never seen it, there is a weekend in IWA Mid-South in the summer of 2002. I believe it's Wrestling in Hades weekend, if I remember correctly. But they bring in Quack and a couple of his, early Gen 1 CHIKARA students. They were doing like a light heavyweight title tournament thing. And Quack actually plays heel across that weekend, and he's so good at it. And just, it's a shame we never really got to see more of that in Quackenbush's heyday because he was so good. But here, he's excellent, just going towards Kingston's knee and being ruthless on it whenever we can. Kingston is, so good knowing that he's on borrowed time, that he's not going to last long in this match with that bad wheel. So he just tries to go for bombs whenever he can. But again, Quackenbush is always one step ahead. Kingston goes for a big power bomb, and Quack's able to counter that into a knee bar and always focus that attack back on the bad leg. Quack kind of starts to get annoyed and rattled a little bit in this match. What starts as dueling chants really becomes, 90-10 toward Kingston throughout it. And you can see that start to bother Quack and start to tick Quack off a little bit. This is his promotion that he created. He deserves to be, in this match, even more so than Eddie Kingston. And you can tell it bothers him that he loses that support of the fans, and he really starts to let that kind of heel stuff show. He pokes Eddie Kingston in the eye. So uncharacteristic for Mike Quackenbush. He shoves Bryce Remsburg at that, at one point. And, Quack loves Bryce and, has such this great working relationship with him. So to see him, stoop to that level again, really sells the importance of this match and of this title and how badly both of these guys want it. We get, the typical CHIKARA, bringing out the roster. This is the best example of that they've ever done by far. The whole roster empties, but it creates this amazing blast from the past kind of atmosphere and moment, really stressing, just how important this is. And you have all of these old wrestlers from CHIKARA's past slowly make their way out to ringside to start banging on the mat and, to try to, get both guys, into the action and back into the fight and to motivate them. You have, Mr. Zero coming, out from retirement. You have Hydra, who got a huge pop when he came out. You have Dragonfly and Rorschach. You have reckless youth Tom Carter, who hadn't been seen by anybody in the wrestling industry for a couple of years before this point. So again, just, such a little thing that adds to the visual aspect and overall package of this match, making it so memorable and making it, in a way, maybe the quintessential CHIKARA match, just from seeing all of that talent around the ring. And it's just, again, so good to add to the overall atmosphere. You take, all of these faces at ringside and this hot crowd and both of these guys fighting with passion, the stakes of the match, the spirit of Larry Sweeney hanging over the ring. And it makes it so unbelievable. Even to watch now, 11, 12 years later, it's still just infectious. You feel this match in your bones and in your soul. And to me, that's, amazing, amazing professional wrestling. We get all of these great near falls leading into the end, and Kingston keeps showing resiliency, kicking out of the Black Tornado Slam, surviving, the lightning lock. There's this great moment where Quack basically baits Kingston into throwing the back fist for the future. He slaps him, knows that King's going to fire the back fist, sees it coming a mile away, ducks it, and hits the QD3, which Kingston kicks out on 1-2 to a huge pop. And he kicked out at 1 on that just to rattle Quackenbush even more, to throw that bit of disrespect at him, being like, you just gave me your best shot and it couldn't hold me down for more than a 1 count. And 1 count kickouts, I've talked about them on the show before. You know, they can kind of go either way, but here it worked so well. Leading into the ending, there's this great moment where Mike Quackenbush goes for like a tie knee stop, that like Bach, you know, Kudo Damien from IWS, you know, style double knees from the top rope, and he misses them and he sells the knee like death. And it's this great moment of karma where he's attacked, you know, ruthlessly attacked Kingston's knee all match, and now he's the one with the bad wheel. And that allows Kingston to pepper him with leg kicks. Quack goes up top and Kingston actually hits him with a back fist to the knee, sending him toppling from the top rope, which was really, really cool. We get a big, you know, near fall, or a near submission, I should say, when Kingston gets the condo clutch on Quack, and that's a really cool moment with Reckless Youth at ringside. You know, that was his original pet maneuver that Kingston kind of, you know, ended up borrowing when Reckless kind of, you know, left CHIKARA and the wrestling business at whole. We get, you know, this beautiful moment where both guys, you know, trade slaps and strikes on their knees, you know, just again showing that passion. And Quack ends up, you know, thinking that he has Kingston on the ropes and that he's going to deliver, you know, a final blow. He runs into just an absolutely sickening lariat from Kingston, a big backdrop driver, a huge release tiger suplex. Whether that was an intentional nod to, you know, Tiger Mask being one of Quackenbush's heroes or not, I don't know, but it was brutal and awesome. And 2 back fists to the future that finally put Quack down for 3 and give Eddie the win. The post-match to this just adds even more to it. You have all of this pure, raw emotion. You have, you know, Larry Sweeney's brother and friend coming out to present the title to Eddie Kingston. You know, Eddie Kingston has spoken on record so many times about what Larry Sweeney meant to him as a friend and as, you know, a brother, essentially. So to see his family present him with the belt, you know, you can't help but get emotional watching that. You get this amazing moment where all of the Gen 1 CHIKARA guys kind of come into the ring and celebrate with Kingston. And then in typical Eddie Kingston form, the dude cuts this fiery, crazy shoot promo after winning the title, basically saying that, you know, CHIKARA is the best pro wrestling in the world. He's the best pro wrestler in the world, and he dares anybody, you know, CM Punk, John Cena, AJ Styles, you know, any of these guys to step up to him and try to take that CHIKARA Grand Championship. And if that doesn't sum up Eddie Kingston better than anything, I don't know what does. This match, though, is just about as excellent as a, you know, just over 15-minute singles match you can get. It's got one of the most amazing atmospheres, you know, for an independent wrestling match in that era you're going to see. It's got, you know, the CHIKARA, you know, cavalcade of former stars out there. Big moments, big drama, really satisfying, beautiful, emotional ending. This is what pro wrestling is all about. You can watch this match, of course, on independentwrestling.tv. Subscribe to my channel here on YouTube so that you never miss a video. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50. And please join me again next time as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50.